got the laundry going right now, which is absolutely perfect. It's exactly what you want when you're hosting a podcast that is primarily audio only. I've read all the books because that's what my generation did. We read books. We didn't have the internet. Well, we did, but we didn't have it wasn't good for information. You couldn't search for things on the internet. We had Alta Vista. Yahoo was early on. Alta Vista, Ask Jeeves. You don't hear much about that anymore. I'm going to Alta Vista this. But I went ahead and I read books about podcasting, so many of them, which is why this podcast is so good. And all of them, unanimously, across the board, each book, every page, said background noise is key. And I don't know if this microphone is picking it up, but you can also, if you listen very closely, in addition to the laundry going right now, you can hear the washer spinning. It's on its spin cycle. It's basically doing the work of the dryer. It's pre-drying. But if you listen closely, you can hear my dog click-clacking around because we're terrible parents and we refuse to clip her paws. I guess you're not really clipping the paws. It's the claws you're clipping. Maybe that's what we should try doing instead of clipping the paws. Because she didn't like that. She definitely didn't like that. She likes the treats that she gets afterwards. But then if we did that, then we wouldn't have all the lovely noise and the sound, the click-clacking around in the background. It's nice. Of course, the second I stop talking, she stops rolling around. God, just do it. All right. But yeah, every podcasting book says background noise is key. Oh, you know what? And I forgot my beer. Oh, gosh, dang it. You know, this was, I'm glad I'm not a pilot, because I'm such a perfectionist. I would be taking off. I'd be in the middle of my takeoff. We would start rotating. We would get airborne, and I'd turn to my co-pilot, and who's God? Because I would have a bumper sticker on the tail that says God is my co-pilot. And I'd be an actual pilot. And then, I'd call the guy God next to me. But I would say, you know what? Let's turn around. Let's redo that. It wasn't as perfect as it could have been. I don't care what these 164 annoyed souls are going to write in their review. We're doing it. And that would be my first and last flight as a commercial pilot because they're okay cutting corners and dealing with imperfect takeoffs. But that's why I wouldn't be a pilot. That's the one reason I wouldn't be a pilot. I'm a shoe-in. I'm a wing-in. But I can't do it because I'm a perfectionist. As you well know, all of you 2 subscribers. We actually got another one the other day. So welcome to you. I'm so glad that you guys are both here. I don't know what your pronouns are, so I'm just going to say guys. I have not been informed that I can't say that yet. I'm sure it's coming. I talked about it in the last podcast a little bit about what was acceptable and unacceptable, what was handed down to us from a wannabe Ivy League college. But for now, I'll say, hey guys, I know it's my mom and somebody else, so welcome. So glad that you're watching this on YouTube, listening to it on your favorite podcast whatever it's called, podcast player, podcast app. I don't know. I don't listen to podcasts, so I can't tell you what the thing is called. I don't even know. Maybe that's why nobody, because I don't upload this anywhere. It just sits on my camera, which actually the world is probably thankful for. So, but back to the point. The point was this podcast was going so swimmingly, so perfect. And then I forgot to pour my beer and I need a beverage. So we're going to take a little pote time out. We're going to pause for station identification and maybe a commercial because I have racked up $6.04 on my Anchor FM account because they have played commercials on some of my podcasts. I have found out that some of them are ineligible for commercials because I do the quick episode thing and I upload it and then there's no way to actually cut in a commercial. So I have not made any money on those. But on others, I've made a couple bucks on one episode and a couple bucks on another. So we're up to $6.04. So thank you, all the listeners out there, for listening to those advertisements and lining my pockets so I can afford the beer I'm about to go grab. Okay, so maybe we'll do a commercial here real quick. And we're back. This beer is so delicious. This is my carrot for doing this podcast, for not even finishing the podcast. It's actually just my carrot for sitting down and taping it and recording it, is I get a beer. Because that's a very healthy thing to do, is to use alcohol as a reward system. I've read this in books as well. And I have found that it works wonders. I'm so much more motivated when I have a beer as my carrot. And the stick is an actual stick. My dog brought in a stick, and Lauren, my wife, beats me with it until I do the thing that I'm supposed to be doing. Which is right now it's the podcast. So that's it. That's the literal. It's an actual stick. And then my carrot is a nice beer. This is I'm drinking a Peroni right now. It's an Italian beer, and it is surprisingly delicious. We had a couple of guests come over the other day, and I said, "What do you drink?" They said Peroni. One of them did. And he had one and then switched to wine. So that means I got 5 Peronis. I normally don't keep beer in the house for some reason. Because I usually just drink it. That's why. But I know it takes up too much space, I think, is the problem. And it's just so, I'd rather have, it's easier to have one bottle of alcohol instead of 6, bottles of beer. So I think that's because, in New York, space is at a premium. And we're all alcoholics. So we have to keep tiny bottles. We should drink out of minis here. If you're not from New York, these are all very truthful, factual things that I'm saying right now. So just wanted you to know that. Okay. That's it. Now I have my carrot. I'm done. I can basically turn this thing off. By the way, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Our sponsors appreciate it. My resume appreciates it. And so, because this is now, I can say this as like a credit when I get on stage and they're like, "Hey, how do you want me to bring you up?" And I can say, host of the Pote podcast. And then when they're about to bring me up and they're like, I'm Anthony Ledon, because no one cares about the Pote podcast. It's a stupid name. I know it, but you're tuning in. So thank you for doing that. We've got a lot to talk about today. We're just going to jump right in. Is the thing to say. I'm going to change it. I'm going to change, here at the Pope podcast, we are revolutionaries. And the only reason I say that as a question is because I want you to think about it. I want you to ask yourself that. Am I a revolutionary? And here at Pope, we are revolutionaries. And instead of saying we're going to jump right in, we're going to say we're going to dive right in. Different sport, okay? One's track and field. The other is swimming or diving. I don't know. It's the same. It's water sport. I don't know. No one watches it. No one watches either of them, so it doesn't really matter. But I'm changing the words. We're not going to say we're going to jump right in. I'm going to say we're going to dive right in. Or maybe we could find another new cool catchphrase like, "All right, let's cut to it." That's pretty stupid. Line them up. That's also pretty stupid. All right. No, that doesn't even make any sense. That could be something like I eventually record and hit a button and it's all right, All right, first up. This is a vent. It's a question, actually. It's a question I'm going to pose to the people, my 2 listeners, my mom, and then the unidentified other who listens to this. And first of all, thank you again for tuning in. And I know I've said thank you more than twice, and there's only 2 of you, so that's getting a little much. But just go with me. I am that thankful. Because again, you line my pockets so that I can afford this Peroni. Oh, by the way, don't you? So this is, I poured a bottle of beer, and I already took a sip here, but I poured this beer into this glass, and it fills it right to the rim. The rim, right up to that little jobby do up at the top. And don't you love that when you put it in, it fits absolutely perfect? Maybe I should rephrase that. No, but you know what I mean, right? Like when you pour a beer and it comes right to the top, they both happen to be the exact same volumetric measurement. That made me happy. This is the best thing that has happened to me in the last 10 minutes. And I keep a running tally, a list of things within the last, 10 minutes that have been so great. And that was one of them. So this beer, so cheers to you, Peroni, for making a beer that happens to have the same volumetric measurements as this glass. Or maybe I should thank the glass manufacturer. But if you do it early enough in the day, which is what I'm doing, as you can tell, if you're watching the video, check it out back there. This is sunlight. And I know in the last video, the sun went way down. So that's why this time I have a little light. I don't have a big light. I have a little light on my face so that even though it might get a little bit dark in here as the day goes on, hopefully this podcast doesn't go that long, but it's still early. It's only 1:50 in the afternoon here, New York time, Eastern time. And do you notice how I say Eastern time and not Eastern Daylight or Standard Time? Because I never know which one we're in. But you can always say Eastern time or Pacific time, and you'll be right. You don't have to specify. Then the other person will have to figure out, like, because my biggest pet peeve, and I keep a running list, ranked order of pet peeves. And the biggest one is people who say, hey, do you want to meet up at like 2 p.m. EDT? And you're in standard time. Or if they say, hey, let's go grab a coffee at 10 a.m. EST. I'm like, dude, we're daylight. I don't know. And then I'm always confused. I'm like, well, what do you mean? Do you mean, are you specifying 10 a.m. standard time and I have to do the conversion to daylight? Come on, man. It's so confusing unless it's like a riddle. So maybe I should downgrade the pet peeve, and maybe I should just appreciate it for what it is. It's a brain challenge for me, these people. And then I can show up at 9 or 11 a.m. ET, depending on whatever one we're in and whatever one they say, and then just lord it over them about how I can belittle them for using the wrong. Who uses that? Come on, just play it safe, man. ET. Or PT, if that's how you identify. Or MT. I think I'm missing one. Central. CT. No, that's the thing. You don't have to say CDT or CST. Don't even bother. Why be so specific? Play it cool, man. Play it cool with your time zones is all I'm saying. All right, so that was a pet peeve. I think through this podcast, I've downgraded it. So now it's number 2. My biggest one. Okay, so here's my big question. We're going to dive right into it. Not jumping right into it. We're going to dive right in. First topic of the day here to discuss on the Pope podcast is, where has all the good service gone? Okay, let that sink in. It's important. It seems to me that out there in the real world, the quality of service has taken a turn for the worst. I don't know what happened. I don't know if everybody's just having a hard time out there and they're not able to do their jobs well, but it's getting a little tough out there. And especially at restaurants. I don't know where everybody went, but one of my favorite restaurants out here in the great city of New York, their food has gone downhill a little bit. Before it was like, oh, I could order anything off the menu, banger. And I don't use that word lightly. or at all. So I don't even know if it means what I think it means. But before, I could order anything and it would be great. A banger. Oddly enough, they didn't have bangers and mash. But, okay. So that was the deal. Everything used to be great. Now it's like you go in and the waiter's like, well, what do you want? And I have to ask, well, what doesn't suck? Because everything, just going down the list, it's like, okay, why is everything crumbling? Why is stuff so dry? What happened? Do you have a robot back there cooking? Look, I know labor is expensive, but where did you outsource this to? Is it a machine? Just a George Foreman? I don't know what it is, but it's gone downhill. And how do you say that? How do you say, hey, this used to be great. Now it's a dump. It's not a dump. But now you can't, if it's a destination, now I don't, it gets tough to go there. Now I go there for like a specific thing. Okay, I'll get a beer. They can't screw that up. That's tougher. And this has happened across several different restaurants. But this is, one that I just know of and want to talk about. What happened? Does anybody out there know? Can we go to a caller? Do we have any callers? No, nobody on the line. I need a producer. Somebody to actually get out there, market this thing, and then field the calls as they come in so we can go to listeners, go to real listeners, active listeners. Maybe I should do a live. Maybe I'll do a YouTube live next time. Let me know if you want that. Wherever you're watching, put it in the comments, shoot me an email, message me on Instagram, whatever. Give me a follow at Anthony Ladon, by the way, or at PotePod, Pote_pod. Oh, I should Instagram something. That should be my theme phrase for 2023. I should Instagram something. But where has all the service gone? I don't know. And then like with online web service, like Squarespace and different places, it's getting so now they're just like, hey, not our problem. You try to email, and before it was fantastic. And now it's like, nope, not a problem. Sorry, can't help you. Gets a little rough, because there's not a lot of places to go. Where I'm switching to Show It. My wife has switched to Show It, and I've gone back and forth between Show It and Squarespace. This is actually taking a turn for the boring, so I apologize. But it's it used to be fantastic service. People used to be great. What can I do for you? Where I do find actually great service. So bartenders, still for the most part, pretty good across the board. Every bar I've been to, I haven't had a complaint. I mean, I've walked out of there completely tipsy, but so I don't even remember to complain. But I don't think I have had an issue, which is great. So maybe I should just be thankful. That hasn't taken a turn for the worst. But even like grocery deliveries, we've talked about this a number of times on this podcast. I'll still specify, hey, can you just ring our doorbell? And maybe just wait a second, because sometimes they'll do the ring the doorbell and then run. But like, just wait and make sure that we're there, because normally we are, like we're always here. But just in case, because I don't want to like miss the doorbell sound and then walk out there and it's like, oh, my fish has been sitting out here getting stanky. I don't know. I had that happen with we did Seamless, Grubhub, same thing. But we've unchecked the box that said, hey, just be safe and drop it. That used to be an option. You can say contactless delivery. Like, what did you do before? Were they giving people hugs? What's a contact delivery? A handshake? What do you do? A little jig out there and dance around? Come on. Just no. They were always contactless. What are you talking about? But now they do the thing, even if you uncheck it, they still just drop it out there and run. The last guy didn't even ring the doorbell. The only way I found out we had food waiting for us is I had to take my dog out. She was basically telling me, Dad, there's food. While I'm out, I need to take a dump. But that's how we found out. And we've asked. I wouldn't have, this isn't like the first time. So what happened, So now I'm switching to cash tips, because I figure, all right, I'm going to tip you, but maybe now you just got to stick around for it. So instead of giving you the $5, that I would have normally, I'll give you a sweet fiver. A nice little Lincoln. Is that Lincoln? God, I don't know. Things to Google. Things to Alta Vista. Yeah, I don't know. I wish I had an answer, because if I did, I could be the next Elon Musk. I'd be the Elon Musk of people, of workers. I would be the service worker. I'd be like the Uber of people. You need a server? Perfect. I've got one for you. It sounds a little bit like trafficking or, business prostitution. So maybe that's not like the best way to go about it. But anyway, that's just something I thought I'd ask you people. Do you have problems with service out there in general? And I don't need like white glove every time. Sometimes a black glove is okay. No glove, I'm even down for. But yeah, especially in the food. I mean, that's where I'm seeing it, just because that's my interaction with it is food. So I don't know. Maybe I'll just stop eating. Maybe I'll stop eating out or ordering in. I think that's it. That's part of the problem. These are things I journal about, and I need to grow. I need to grow as a human, and I will. I'll get there. All right. I just need to get that off my chest. I think people have had it. I think they're just fed up. Workers are fed up. They're just like, hey, can I get an order of? No. What? You know what? You go back to the kitchen. You get it. I was at a cafe yesterday, meeting up with a fellow comic and friend. And we sat down 15 minutes before the guy came back out to ask if we wanted anything. We just sat down, and 15 minutes passed before we even had like a water. And he helped somebody else. And I was like, hey, excuse me. And he's like, yeah, I'm coming back out with your water. And I was like, oh, okay. Can you leave the attitude on the inside? That'd be great. Thanks. So we brought the water out and then asked, hey, is there anything I can get you to drink? My friend said no. I said, yeah, can I get an espresso and a coffee? Because I needed some caffeine. And they have good espresso. And then he was busy bussing another table, and I was talking to my friend, and we're like, well, you know what? We're actually kind of hungry. He had to jet to go to a show or something afterwards. And I said, hey, excuse me. If we order something, do you think we can get it and eat it in 20 minutes? And he's like, yeah, no problem. I was like, okay, well, it took you like almost 20 just to see if we wanted water. So don't act like my question was completely out of the blue. I didn't say that. I thought it. And now I'm telling you what I thought. So we order the food. I get fries. He gets a sandwich. Food comes out 2 minutes later. He's like, you guys said you needed it fast, so I did this as fast as possible. And he leaves. And I told my friend I should have asked the same question about my coffee, because that took another 5 minutes. I was done with my fries before the coffee came. And you would think that you'd put in that thing first. And I know this place is busy, but like everybody's getting drinks, everybody's getting food. How long does it, I mean, you've got, it's already brewed, right? I know the espresso isn't, but just bring out, okay, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I guess I do know. Don't go back. Take my own advice. Shut up. Move on with your life. But I can't believe 15 minutes went by. Like, guy, you're not waiting on the whole restaurant. There's other people in there. And excuse me, yeah, I'm getting your water. Well, okay. Could you have gotten that 15 minutes ago when we got here? I'm sure maybe he had a bad day. Maybe he had a bad day. I'll cut him some slack. People have had it. Service has gone downhill. Food's gone downhill. I don't know what to do. Everything. I mean, you know what? I get why, you know how every generation, the older generation, there is like, well, the country's gone down the drain. I don't believe that, but I could see how someone would say it. I'm not far off. I don't believe me. I'm not going to turn to that. I don't think it, but man, it's a hop, skip, and a jump away from, Well, everything I used to know is screwed up. So where are we going from here? Speaking of where are we going from here, here's someone who's come a long way. Prince Harry. I want to talk about this. I saw this in the news. I read a headline. Prince Harry tells the royal family to come clean. Okay. He didn't say about what. He did say, you know what you did. Okay. Now, this is from the New York Post, so we know it's entirely accurate. This is the pinnacle of tabloid journalism. But this guy, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, they left the royal family. They got out of it because they wanted to stay out of the limelight. They wanted to get out of the limelight. And really, what better way to do that than to move to LA, publish a documentary, and publish a book? You know, if I were trying to fly under the radar and stay out of the public eye, definitely my first three moves are, well, I got to go to the center of Hollywood. I got to go to Hollywood, showbiz city, because quietest place on earth, really. Number two, let's get a movie out there. Something. Let's get our faces on Netflix. I for sure do that. And then number three, I'm going to write a book, and a somewhat controversial one, because I'm trying to stay out of the limelight. That's my big goal. That's why we left the royal family. And I think he's playing his cards right. He's making the right moves. But what I want to really know is what the heck, what should they apologize about? Maybe for still being around, even though they're not needed. Maybe that's the thing they should apologize for. Look, I know we know we've overstayed our welcome. No one needs a monarchy anymore. They don't do anything. They're lovely. I know they're lovely people. It seems like they're big on fundraising, because they're like, well, we've done a lot of stuff. Why not? Let's try to fix the karmic balance a little bit, and that's nice. But at the end of the day, politically unnecessary. But they're just so darn cute. It's nice to have the little crowns and everything. It's so cute, like on that little island. I love it. That's why I want to go and I want to see it. It's like a little toy. It's like they're like Bichon Frise dogs or corgis. They're like the Queen's corgis, complete evolutionarily unnecessary, but fun to have around. It's great. Maybe Harry should be the one to tell him. Maybe that was his tell-all book, and the one thing he was going to tell all about was, look, we got out because we saw the writing on the wall. Nobody needs a monarchy anymore. We got rid of it. We're doing okay, unless you subscribe to the this country's going downhill thing. So basically, if you're over, and what do they call them? Boomers? I was called a boomer once. I don't think I'm quite a boomer yet. I'm getting there. I'm working on it. Every day. But yeah, Prince Harry. This is a good tease. This article was a fantastic tease. Prince Harry told them, hey, you guys better apologize. What for? You know what? That's like writing in a yearbook like, oh, I'm going to miss you more than you'll ever know. Well, what? Just say it. Or writing in a card to a friend or a boyfriend, a girlfriend or something like, I love you more than you'll ever know. Just tell them. Why the subterfuge? What are you trying to hold back? Just tell them. It's not more than you'll ever know. They know. Also, they know exactly how much. They know exactly how much. I don't know. I mean, just to be safe, I do tell that to my wife every morning. Hey, I love you more than you'll ever know. And you know what she tells me? Ugh. Every morning, I roll, and I love it. And that's not a bad way to start your day, let me tell you. Oh, here's another thing that I wanted to chat about real quick. I saw another article. We're just going through news articles because this is the state of things. There's an article on NBC New York that said Delta is rolling out free Wi-Fi for all travelers. Here's how to sign up. Great. Doing a little PSA. I love it. But then the stock image they have is of this beautiful millennial woman in PJs, obviously. She's flying, and she's a millennial. Can't dress herself. But with very expensive headphones, a MacBook Pro, it looks like, and an iPhone. She's staring out a window, makeup and everything. Clearly, this is not Delta. That's my only quibble, that is not how people look on Delta flights. Okay, and I've been on Delta flights. It's not how people look on planes. Nobody looks like that on a plane. So can I believe this? Is this fake news? It's NBC, so it's not one of the super conservative ones. So it's got to be true, but I'm going to call fake news on this. Fake news. Delta's rolling out free Wi-Fi? I don't think so. For all travelers, maybe if you look like that. That's what I'm getting out of this article. Is I have to be pretty to get free Wi-Fi. And I'm offended. I do think that's great, though, that they're offering free Wi-Fi to pretty people. That's the headline. That's the clip we're going to pull out of this. Comedian uncovers Delta myth. Internet not free for all travelers, only for pretty people. It's a little wordy. I hear you. I see that. I know it. We're gonna cut it down. But that's the takeaway here is Delta's a liar. I did have a great experience on a Delta flight recently. Who I had a great experience on is American. I thought they were the worst, but I had a great experience. I had two great experiences actually. I have to let my dog out of this room because she's annoying me. Again, this is part of the podcast book I read. Background noise, perfect. A-okay. We just call it room tone. Hey. Go ahead. You dork. I don't know what her problem was because there's a door immediately to my left, and it's not like I'm locked in a room. By the way, we don't have interior. We have one interior door. We have two technically, but this one just like locks off a small subsection of a room, and I don't. She can go around. So she's just a lazy fat girl, is what she is. She is on her own little weight loss journey. We are trying to cut back a little bit, just in case, so she doesn't get that doggy diabetes or anything. But we're working on it. And I think that was what I was trying to do, was get her to walk a little bit, get her steps in. And, but she failed, and I failed as a parent because I jumped in, I tried to fix the situation. She was like, those parents with crying kids and they give them like candy or whatever, or McDonald's just to shut their kid up. And then they end up like a little balloon. That's basically what I did. I didn't teach her to have self-respect or to do it herself. And I failed my dog as a parent. All right, I need to see how we're doing on time. Okay, we've got a few more minutes left. I don't want to shortchange you. But I have a dog that's just sitting there staring at me. This is now what we've come down to. All right, why don't we just cut it here? We'll make this one a short one, a little bite-sized piece, just to keep it rolling. All right, thanks so much for joining. You can catch me, by the way, I'm going to be at Gotham Comedy Club on January 23rd, their 7 p.m. show, and then in 2 weeks, starting on the 28th, I am out of the country for 3 weeks doing comedy on boats. Technically, it's one boat. It's one boat for 3 weeks. I'm going to be doing a cruise ship comedy gig. So I need to buy some flip-flops and a hat, I think, in case it's sunny in the Caribbean. Actually, I know it will be. But yeah, that's going to be it. A couple of shows. So no plugs. You can't come see me during those 3 weeks unless you're on the cruise ship. So anyway, give me a follow on Instagram at Anthony Ladon, and you can follow the podcast with if you want to send in comments, concerns, quips. This is a new thing. We're accepting quips. So questions, comments, concerns, that's standard fare. But here at the Pope Podcast, we also accept quips. So it's not quite commentary. We're not opening it up to commentary, but we are taking questions, comments, concerns, and quips. Quests, if you do have challenges, quests, we are accepting those as well. So it's really kind of a no holds barred, send in whatever you want. DM me, IM me. If you want to indirect message me, you can also do that. Pote_pod on Instagram or at Anthony Ladon. So the 2 options. You can follow me there. I'm also on YouTube, which is probably where you're seeing this, I think, because I've noticed that I have 2 views. 2 views. So good work out there. Thank you so much for joining. Much love to you and your family in this new year. And that's about it. All right. Take care. Bye.